taking off my clothes has been the easy part. Letting love into the darkest places in myself is something that, into this very moment, I'm learning how to do. I grew up in a strict religious Southern home. My dad was a minister, in fact. I was a fat kid and people made fun of me, and I was chased around at recess. It was pretty much a living hell. I got beat up and called faggot and just learned from an early age to hide who I was. And I learned at that point that it wasn't safe to be me, and that I needed to take all these little pieces of myself that I was just becoming aware of at the time and just hide those and stuff them inside, not only at school, but at home and at church. So there just really didn't feel like there was any place that I could really be safe to be who I actually am. And the funny thing is, I learned at that time everything that I knew about being gay from my dad, who was like I said, a minister and very outspoken against the gay agenda. And he had this file in his office in his sermon material, and this file was so full of all these things about gay people and things that he read from propaganda and other writings about what homosexuals were doing, and our church would write letters to boycott any company that was supporting the homosexual agenda. And this was the climate that I grew up in, right? I just knew on some level, even though I didn't really know how to admit that I was gay, and I didn't know what it even meant really to be gay, I knew that there was some truth there. And when I heard all this coming at me, it felt like it was against me, and it took me a really, really long time to be able to come out of the closet. It took me 31 years to be able to vocalize out loud that I am gay. And the biggest pain that I have had from this entire process has been the integration process, and looking back at my life and looking at how I have learned to eroticize things that were based on hiding, and learned to explore my sexuality under the guise of shame and in public restrooms, and doing things with strangers when I was 16, getting in cars with strangers and driving out to the country. And basically, while many of my straight friends were getting the opportunity to be blessed with a relationship and a way to explore being with another human being and to explore their sexuality, I'm having to hide who I am and create this whole dynamic where the reality of my own life was nothing that I could show anyone. And that all you could really see on the surface is what I wanted you to know about me and what I wanted you to think about me. And more importantly, it was creating a division continually, a deeper division all the time between who I really was and who you thought I was. That kind of schism has taken years to repair. That kind of schism encouraged me to marry a woman when I was in my early 20s. I married my best friend at the time. I wanted to be the man. I wanted to be doing my duty to the Lord at that point. I had been in ministry school myself, and I was doing the best that I could to try to manage and suppress this process inside me around being gay. And all I did was enroll other people into my story of pain, enrolling other people that were heartbroken later on whenever I had cheated and lied and done so much to bring that marriage down, because I didn't know how to just ask for what I needed. I wasn't given the opportunity to really listen and learn to hear what I needed on the inside. And so I created on the outside of me what was expected of me by my culture, by my family, by the religion that I was raised in. And that was a really horrible process to watch my life and this identity that I had created come tumbling down, and to realize that, wow, I learned how to be a sexual being in public restrooms, on the internet, with strangers, and never have actually, even till I was in my 30s, had the opportunity for someone to look at me, love me for a person, and be able to express myself sexually with that person. And I see this going on in the gay community so much. I see a lot of gay men, and perhaps women too, and trans people, although I can only speak to what it's been like for me, being a man, taking these experiences of division and these experiences of like hiding and these experiences of cheating and having an erotic sphere around this way of being, and then trying to then come later into an intimate relationship, and they don't understand, and why I didn't understand why loving this person and being attracted to this person was enough to help me connect, because I've got all this baggage behind me and all this unhealed business around being integrated and being able to actually bring who I am complete and whole to the table and be accepted. And this isn't about blame, you know. It actually took me years to let go of that as well. Like, I blamed God and I blamed religion until I realized now that we actually need people in this world that have spirituality as a center place in their own process, whether that's a religious spirituality or a non-religious spirituality. We need all spiritual concepts at the table at this point in the world, in my opinion. And then I blamed my father until I realized that, you know, in many ways my father has actually given me the most leadership capabilities that I have. He's actually taught me how to be a leader, and he did the best that he could with what he had. And I blamed my culture for not accepting gays and for not accepting the sexuality that I actually embody, until now I understand that my culture is my audience and the gay community is who I actually want to connect with and appeal to. So blame hasn't helped me, but I'm at this point in my life where I look back at my story and I want to say, hey, I actually have something to share. You know, I used to actually take my wedding ring off whenever I would go meet guys in public restrooms, not because I didn't want to look down at this ring and remember what it symbolized. No, I didn't want to have this ring on because I didn't want these guys that I was meeting in the restroom to look at me and think that I was this lying piece of shit that was like cheating on my wife. And that's, you know, that's not me. That's not who I am. I'm actually just this guy that needs to connect in this way. And I just couldn't really bring all of that together. Like, it took me until now to even be able to have this conversation in the public and be able to look back at my story and realize, wow, I've come a long way and I've struggled a lot, and it would have really helped a lot if I'd had the support of my father and my church and my culture, but I didn't have that. And all I really have now is myself and the people that I draw to me in this place in my life. That's the only thing that I actually have. So it's taking me committing to bringing these pieces together and doing the work in my own self to heal these little parts of my past and heal the division within myself, so I don't go out here and recreate the exact same dynamic of division and separation. And I look around at the gay community, and that's what I see a lot of, is division and separation and judgment. And I see people wanting to connect as well. And I'm just here to say, hey, look, we all have this individual brilliance that we can bring out in our lives. But if we're so covered up with shame and fear and the inability to connect and fear of connection and fear of intimacy, then we're not going to be able to bring that out. And so what I want for all of us is to be able to bring out this part of ourselves. And that's what I want to bring to the table, is how can I help myself? How can I help other people bring this brilliant part of themselves, whatever that is for you, to the table, to connect with other people, because we need everybody and we need all of our gifts to be able to help our communities, our nation, our world. There's a lot going on in the world right now that feels overwhelming, and if we can just start with ourselves and heal these little pieces, then we actually have a starting place. And I would encourage you that if you think that being gay means being able to just accept having sex with men or women or whatever it is for you, that the process is so much bigger than that, and that if you can let love in to your heart from your own self and heal all these little places where you have denied yourself love and acceptance and the sense of worthiness, because that's what was done to you, if you can just heal those pieces, your life is going to open up. And the gay agenda is something that we can all get on board with. Right? The gay agenda is, for me, learning to love myself, making a practice of loving myself and helping other people who are on this same pathway of healing and that want to heal to open up and love themselves.